We're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. This is the Keeper's Corner podcast with your hosts, Matt Sterling and Brandon Brooks. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another preseason edition of the Keeper's Corner podcast. Matt Brandon back, as always.
Howdy doody.
Howdy doody indeed. Somewhat fitting because one of our signings just came from Texas. But boy, we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yes, we do.
A lot of stuff. Because if we weren't, if we were lacking for talent before today, content before today, just between talking about Utica's 3 signings and the schedule, well, now we have rule changes.
Boy, lacking of talent. Tell me how you really feel.
I still feel sleep deprived. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, aren't we all, though? It's just how it works.
Yeah. Some of us hiked 5 miles yesterday on an hour and a half of sleep. And
getting outside is overrated. Come on.
It was gorgeous.
Everything is
Gorgeous.
Indoor, not outdoor.
Well, yeah, for the MASL. Except for that, the outdoor game that didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they kept it indoor.
But how is everyone doing tonight in chat?
Duty howdy. That's how Huber's doing.
It's howdy.
We got
duty time.
Steve saying hello. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in.
We're here and we are ready to talk Utica City.
Yeah.
Finally, Brandon, after what felt like an eternity.
I mean, now that we actually have a few things to talk about,
yeah.
And, not feeling like we're just going to go out there and have one person play all the positions. We're getting there.
Can't really bury the lead on this one. Utica finally announced some signings.
Yes.
Finally did. Which, boy, if you've been the social media person for the Utica City team up until that point, or if you were me doing the social media for us, the comments have been getting dark.
Yeah. No, it's...
For a few people, they're still fairly dark.
Well, because, at least one of them was expected. Mm-hmm. And frankly, if we hadn't had one particular signing, I think people were going to riot.
Yeah. Should we start with that particular signing?
We might as well. It was the first one, and it was in the chronological order of things that we planned to talk about. That was technically the first one out of all the things that were announced.
Yeah. Even though chronologically it came after the schedule, which we'll talk about later, but players are more important than the schedule, so.
Listen, I wasn't even thinking about the schedule. I was thinking about the announcements and the rule changes. So I say.
We used to say in Boy Scouts, announcements. A terrible death to die. A terrible death to die. A terrible death to be talked to death. A terrible death to die.
I'm sorry, everyone.
All
right. Then, since you're taking forever to allude to it, first signing of Utica City FC for the 2024-2025 season was the one, the only Mr. Stretch, Andrew Coughlin, which after the season he had last season, which I don't know if you knew this, Mr. Statman. You probably did, but it was literally one of his best seasons, if not technically the best, by 0.001%. So, yes, it is great to welcome back Mr. Stretch. He has been a staple of the team since they became Utica. So we're very glad to see him come back. He was definitely a powerhouse on the field. He's a great person off the field. Glad to have him return for the 2024-2025 season.
Yeah, and a month ago when we did our last show, we both had Andrew Coughlin as the number one most important piece to re-sign for this team moving forward.
Yes, we did.
You got to start in the back and build out.
Yep. Nope, got to have a good base, and he is definitely good for us in goal. So very glad to have him back.
An unfortunately timed illness last year, and I think it was a hamstring issue. Hamstring, knee, something in the leg.
Yeah.
Forced him to miss a third of the season, which happens, especially as players get older. But great year all around statistically. Like you said, his save percentage was the highest of his career. And his goals allowed against average is the best it's been since pre-COVID.
Yep.
This pre-COVID season, man. I still feel like we got robbed.
Oh, I know. Tell me about it.
What happened in that playoffs? Very, very happy to have him back. It provides security blanket for the team on defense. And so, as we'll talk about later, one of his little benefits that he had will be taken away by the league.
Yes. Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a change, considering that's always been very entertaining to watch, frankly, and see just how far things can go. Lost my train of thought. I was literally going to say something about just having him back, and yeah, I guess I didn't really have anything else to add. There was a thought there, and then it just skittered away.
I guess, the only thought I have to add is that as best we can tell, it's for a 1-year deal, at which point, just like every year for a lot of these guys, they have to decide if they're going to hang it up or come back.
Yep.
But we have him for one more year, one last shot at the Ron Newman Cup with a founding member of Utica City.
That's what it was, because we had been talking about, who's really going to be left of the founding members of Utica City, because it was still up in the air whether or not we were going to have him.
Yeah.
And
potentially only Andrew.
Yep. But at least we have one.
Next, a week later, we got another announcement of a player signing. Though technically, this is listed as a trade on the MASL transaction website.
Yeah, I saw that.
Utica fans know him from his days with Baltimore and the Tropics. So he did play for Tacoma for a bit and then Texas this past season. Vinny Dantas has come to the city for us this year. Clearly meant to take Frank's role in the offense.
Which I don't know. I don't necessarily see him. He's got a lot to live up to. I mean, yes, there was a lot of doubters last season for Frank. But he did come into his own. Maybe it's also just, maybe we decided to take him over trying to retain Frank because of the play style difference. Frank comes from a place where he's basically exclusively up front, and that's really all he does. And I'm not saying that's not a knock against him. It's just that's the play style that he comes from. So it was a little bit different of a fit coming here. Whereas you have somebody like Vinny Dantas, who maybe can adapt more, play more offense or play more defense, more offense, things like that. Frankly, we've all seen him. I mean, it's kind of like we put Jake Schindler on the front line.
Yeah, he's another big physical target
guy.
Forward. What do you remember about his season last year?
I barely remember breakfast.
What if I told you that last year was his best season since before COVID? And, we're familiar with Texas. They played us each of the past 2 seasons. They're another run and gun, fast pace. We're going to try to outscore you and make you keep up kind of team. Well, in that system, in 18 games, he had 28 goals and 19 assists for 2.6 points per game.
So he had a fairly good season then.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at points per game average, that's literally his best ever.
Yeah, in full seasons since he came into the league, he's only had 2 where he didn't score at least 30 points.
Yeah.
So he will absolutely help absorb some of that loss from Frank and Mo moving on elsewhere.
Yes. So, regardless of, obviously there's going to be, it's kind of going to be a Nelly situation, some people are going to hoo and ha about we signed Vinny, but we have to move past a lot of that. Like if you paid attention to the league, we've paid attention to it for a few years and we've seen all the movement every single season. It's part of the game. It's part of the sport. People are going to move around. And frankly, when they come to the team, I really, really hope that he gets a better greeting than Nelly did originally. Because, it's better. It's better if they feel welcomed when we bring them in, when they're brought into the fold here. Yeah. So he will be a good addition to the city, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do and actually meeting the guy and being able to talk to him. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I have to quiet my brain because I went to high school with a kid named Vinny, and there's a teacher that just referred to him as Vinny Bag of Donuts. So every time I hear Vinny, I just go, "Hey, Vinny, bag of donuts." It's like, that is the wrong heritage. He is Brazilian, not Italian.
Yeah. It's there's a bit of a difference there.
It's same difference. They're both known for coffee.
I can't take you anywhere. I swear.
I didn't go anywhere. I'm at home.
Enough out of you.
Really? You're just going to solo the rest of the show?
Do you want me to?
I don't know. You said there was enough out of me.
All right. Well, so as far as the third signing that we have had thus far, we had him last season for a few games. And he was kind of he somewhat flew under the radar, but he was halfway decent on defense. That is Jace Berger. So we have signed our first defender. Mm-hmm. So we at least have that going for us. Wow. There's already the negativity for Vinny. Michelle is bully. But yeah, Jace Berger.
What a burger.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, he hasn't really had. I mean, last season was literally his first season in the MASL. He also played for Krasnik as well. But it was his first season. He only had a few games. He got a couple of goals. Granted, goals aren't really what we're looking for from a defender. But he is, set up as a defender for this season, and we'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. I know that's one of Everton's big things is it's like, yeah, they might not see much from the first season, but as these guys develop and as these guys get better, I mean, we're going to see that we're going to be able to watch that development that he has on the field for us. And, I'm invested now, and I'd love to see how he ends up.
Yeah, he's young, he's fast, solid left foot, as Tyler pointed out in the chat. And we'll have to see how he does with a larger role this year.
Yeah, I'm just glad we're signing defenders. We're signing defenders early and not just. I mean, again, he's not the best defender, but he's a defender. We're getting somewhere.
Yeah. So again, like you mentioned, adjusting to the league, learning a much more physical, hands-on play style.
Mm-hmm. But that has been it for signings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Sorry, I didn't know if you had something else you were going to say there.
No, they're going to be weekly at this point. It looks like I was actually pleasantly surprised to get 2 last week instead of just 1.
Hmm?
And, after this next weekend with the Combine, I'm sure we'll have more.
Yep.
Yeah, if you have the time, tune in, see the draft.
It's interesting to watch. So I would definitely, it's recommended. Check it out if you can. Obviously, if you can't, so be it.
It's but I guess the plus about bringing back Jace is you're not losing a player after 1 year of developing them,
right?
Like Correa last year,
right? You're not losing the time invested in them,
yeah.
As they skirt off and go somewhere else.
We know a few more, Tyler. We can't. They're sightings that we're not allowed to talk about yet. The anything that we come to you guys and say, like, sources say this, we're protecting their anonymity, and also have cleared it with them that, hey, it's okay for us to put this out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we respect the fact that they trust us with that information, and we're not going to break that trust.
No. Especially on the occasions where it's come up where we're not the ones like asking for it.
Right.
It just happens to fall to us.
Exactly.
There's still 9 more guys from Utica unsigned.
Oh yeah.
See where they fall. But the season doesn't start for another month and a half, so preseason won't start until Thanksgiving.
You say it until, but it's so close. It's literally like a month and.
I mean, the first game is technically
9
Black
days.
Friday.
Yeah, it's like a month. Sorry, it's like a month and 9 days. Like, it's coming up quick
for the league, but not for Utica. Utica's got a late start, and I guess that's a pretty good segue into talking about the schedule.
Hey.
Announced a day before Utica announced any of their signings. The league had released the full schedule with 24 games, 12 home, 12 away as expected. And I think surprisingly for most, only a single table instead of split divisions this year.
Yep.
Possibly the bigger surprise, no Monterey.
Yeah, after their season last year,
which came 3-4 months after the league said that all 13 teams were in good standing and would be back.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at Chad, I swear.
Oh no, it's fine. So yeah, no Monterey, no divisions, and that's where we are to figure things out.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks, looking at our schedule. I mean, I know we'll get into it. We'll get into this deeper as we get, as the season comes around, as the season starts. But it definitely is nerve-wracking that our first 2 games are Empire. We are their home opener, and we are the Soccer's home opener in their brand new stadium. Those 2 games are, the second one especially is got the nerves on edge, just because, not only because of who we're playing, but the fact that there's going to be additional pressure on them to really hammer it home in their new stadium and make a good first impression in the new house.
Yeah. And they're kind of going through a changing of the guard there with younger players expected to step up and fill roles that guys like Craig Childs have filled for years.
Yep.
But
yeah, we sadly have a pretty dry first couple. Basically, we have a pretty dry December.
Yeah,
which is very different. Usually, we have a loaded December, and then we get a dry spell.
I mean, technically, we get 5 games, but they're crammed into the second half of it.
Yeah, but only 2 of them are home.
Yeah.
And they're right around New Year's. Literally one on New Year's. So
a Tuesday night game, but it's New Year's Eve, so
right. Oh, I know where I'm spending New Year's.
At the Odd, at 72, at the ball drop in Utica with the players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a tall ask, Steve, to get if we win the first game in the new stadium. That's going to be, it would be a fight. And of course, we're going to be, tired after playing the Strikers literally the night before.
Mm-hmm.
That will be a very tall ask.
Yeah. Definitely didn't get any favors this year as far as the schedule goes.
We didn't. Except for maybe the 6 against Harrisburg. But who knows? That could change too.
Yeah,
that they could sign somebody pretty interesting.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yep. Sorry, I know I'm getting ahead of myself.
You're good. You're good, man. You're good. But I did want to say, for me, the most interesting thing about our schedule is, do you remember when Utica first came and it was just soccer Sundays and the one UCFC After Dark game?
Yeah.
Did you look at the schedule for dates this year for what day the games fall on?
I remember not seeing as many Sunday.
6. There are only 6 Sunday games this year.
Okay, I didn't see that.
6 Sunday, the New Year's Eve one on Tuesday.
Yep.
And then, if I remember correctly, it was either 2 Friday and 3 Saturday, or 3 Saturday and 2 Friday for home games.
So we're all over the place this season. Mm-hmm. Instead of just being, Sunday is soccer Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm not hating that.
No,
I did like the, hey, I know what I'm doing on Sunday.
Yeah.
I did like that part. But moving things around, letting us, there's some weekends where we're literally going to be spending the entire weekend at the Odd. There's a Saturday and Sunday game. Mm-hmm. So, literally, we've got just a quick look.
3 Fridays
Milwaukee,
and 2 Saturdays.
Milwaukee, we play Friday, or we play Saturday, Sunday. Chihuahua, we play Saturday, Sunday. I think those are the only ones that are looks like those are the only ones that are Saturday, Sunday at home. We have some trade-offs with Harrisburg home and away, which
saw that
could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those two literally back to back. So spending the whole weekend with the Odd, or at the Odd with the team, that'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Check out, and we know it can be a party for everybody.
That makes some sense. I don't know if you saw Jack in the chat talking about the Utica University's men's schedule change, so it opened up more weekend games. That makes sense. So literally just arena availability. It's what it all boils down to in any league for any team.
Yeah, I looked up the UU hockey schedule just because it kind of pertains to where I'm going to be working. Since 72 is only open at game nights, and it is only going to be select game nights for Utica University, whatever that means. But
who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, it makes sense. Utica had a good draw last year. They were outdrawing the Comets. And though the Comets have started off the season pretty strong with their first 2 home games, attendance-wise, I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the Comets at all, but it's not been a pretty first 2 weekends for them.
We've gone to a few games, but just we haven't gone recently. I want to say the last time we went to a Comets game was probably our first season of Utica soccer. So it's been a while since we've gone to a Comets game. Just hockey's not our thing.
Yeah, no, I've tried. The crowd's not as fun It's not as engaged. Like, I popped out there because we were almost done cleaning up and wanted to see how long we had for, I think the next intermission and whatnot. Because when the halls fill up, that makes our job more complicated. But
of course, yeah.
And there's a power play with like a minute left in the period. Utica's on the attack. They're down. They need a goal to help get them back into it against the crunch, and quiet. Yeah. I mean, like the murmur from the crowd, but
of course, yeah,
nothing to like lift and carry the team. And
it feels more of a social event where people are just there chit chatting, talking amongst themselves, things like that. Whereas, I don't know, Utica soccer, just people are in it, and it's infectious in those games. But so it's a very stark contrast between Utica soccer and Utica hockey. And Utica hockey is like, that's like the main thing.
Yeah, Utica is a hockey town, if you ask anybody.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Rough start to their season.
Yep.
0-4. I think they've been outscored by, let's see, they got shut out 4-0 the first night, or 5-0, and then they lost 4-1 the second night. 5-4 and then 4-1 again. Like, they're just
not having a good time.
No. No, their social media has quickly become more negative than City's was. Like, you got people calling for firing of the coach already 4 games into the season.
It's beginning of the season. Calm down.
Well, here's the difference between the AHL and the MASL. AHL is about development. They're just a pit stop on the way to the NHL. In best case scenario for a player.
I know some people don't like the term, but Utica Comets is a farm team for what is it? Jersey Devils?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. I couldn't remember. Sure. I mean, I knew,
that's why everything went red and black a couple years ago. Because
I knew Audi became naughty and like you said, the black and red. So anyway, we got off track.
We did. Nothing new there.
No, but it's all pertinent.
So 3 Friday games, 2 Saturday games, 6 Sunday games, and a New Year's Eve game. So 6 night games, 6 afternoon games.
And a portrait. Oh, sorry. Am I a little early? Listen, I'm only like 2 months early.
At least wait until December 1st.
I'll give you till after Thanksgiving.
I can negotiate with that, yeah.
Black Friday kicks everything off. I mean, it's hard to argue that when...
Okay. But only if it starts with Violent Night.
Oh, okay. You win.
Yep,
you
we're on board? Okay, good.
I'm down.
Me, notably not a Christmas guy. Movie about Santa Claus that's just Die Hard and Home Alone smashed together. Sign me up.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those movies that seems to really break the rules of, some of the established holiday traditions. Sort of like the rules that have just been changed in the MASL.
Yeah.
Hey, I did a
segue. We got 7 rule changes today. It was like the league knew we were doing a show and just wanted to give us content.
Surprise!
I'm sure that wasn't the case, Jack, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Some of them make sense. Most of them, I would say, make sense. 2
I'm
of
glad
them,
to see some of them.
Some of them are welcome additions. I guess we'll walk through them one by one.
Let's do it. Start at the top.
First rule change: you get 15 seconds to get to the penalty box. No more of these players arguing and thematics and dramatics that drag on the dead ball time for minutes at a time.
Yep.
You got 15 seconds, get to the box. If you don't, you get a yellow card. This includes situations where the player serving the time is the coach's choice. So, like, if the coach gets yellow carded or they have the 6-man violation and it takes them longer than 15 seconds, they're still getting a yellow card.
If it's the coach's choice, though, the coach gets a yellow.
Yes. Yeah, so it'll be issued to the coach.
Right. Which, I mean,
still puts another person in the box for 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. No, I like that because, again, it's a rule to help streamline the game and stop all this chirping that we see constantly. Now, granted, it won't stop other players from chirping. You know, as we've seen a lot of players do, both our players and other players, where, there's just they're chirping in the ref's ear. They may not be the one going to the box. It's not going to stop that, but it is going to stop those that are like going to the box from trying to basically plead their case. Yeah. And I like that. I'm on board.
No, I mean, how many times over the years have we just been screaming from the corner to give a guy a yellow and shut him up and send him to the box for an extra longer time? Like, that's what the captain armband is for. The captain is supposed to plead the case.
Ooh, you just made me think of who's going to get the captain armband this year.
There seems to be a fan favorite option, but they do tend to rule out a possible comeback player receiving that armband.
Okay. Okay.
Haven't heard anything about it, but just, rule change number 2, another 15-second change.
I like this one a lot.
Like if you've watched the show before, if you've followed us at all over the past few years, you've seen me rant and complain about players just going to the turf and taking forever, and then stops play, especially when they're on defense. Stops play. Medical team has to come out. They check them out. They're good, and then they stay in the game, and they're running around like nothing happened.
Yeah.
You stay on the ground for 15 seconds, you're out of the game for the next 2 minutes. Just like that if you get checked for a head injury. Once you've been on the ground for more than 15 seconds, the medical personnel are coming on to evaluate you regardless.
Yep.
Also applies to goalkeepers.
So that's the other thing. They can't just lay there and be like, no, I'm good, and lay there for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever. And they're just like, no, I'm fine. I'm recovering. When it's letting them recover, it's letting everyone else recover in potentially a, goal scoring situation. Again, that could work for and against us. Obviously, it could be either or, but it still keeps play moving instead of dead stop.
Yeah, we'll hopefully get a stop to those guys who get tripped up and then grab their ankle and roll 5 times and like, how are you guys not looking at me?
Sing a song.
There is an exception to this rule where in the case of a power play. So if a guy gets fouled hard enough that it draws a blue card and they're down for longer than 15 seconds, they can remain out there. So as long as it's not a violent enough foul to issue a time penalty, you go down, you better be getting back up.
Right.
Rule 3. Look, there's no other way to call this, but it is the small field rule against goalkeepers. Last year we had the Neto rule where if a goalkeeper committed a card, they had to serve their own penalty. This year we're getting, let's call it the Zierhofer rule. Oh, no, that's not rule. I skipped a rule here.
I was going to say, that's rule 5. You skipped over rule 3, which is to do with goalkeepers.
It is.
But it's not that one.
But we'll go with that one. We'll get a bad one out of the way because it kills. It is illegal for a goalkeeper to throw the ball over 3 lines now. They'd get a 3-line violation.
Basically makes it impossible to compete for that hat trick that Zierhofer got last season.
Exception: goalkeepers permitted to throw the ball over 3 lines during dynamic play following a save.
Yes.
So it's not getting rid of that fast play, but like on a stopped play, you can't distribute it all the way down the turf. And so, if there's a goalkeeper distribution, ball goes out behind the net and Andrew gets the ball.
Mm-hmm.
On that restart, he can't huck it all the way down to the other end.
Yep.
But the biggest note on this is that at no time is the goalkeeper permitted to throw the ball and score a goal directly from the ball leaving his hands. You get goalkeeper assists. You cannot get goalkeeper goals anymore.
Yeah. Which I think, yes, it's definitely a small field.
No, it's strictly them saying, well, if we make everyone have field sizes that are, 180 feet to comply with the U.S. Soccer Federation, we lose these two teams in Chihuahua and Baltimore. So rather than that, we'll just say no one gets to throw the ball in the goal anymore.
And just to address one of the questions in the chat about the injury one, is if they're down for 10 seconds and then stand back up and sit back down, the way that I would imagine that it should function is it's a total of 15 seconds. Whether it's 10 seconds and then you get up and then sit right back down, I would think that should equate to one overarching 15 seconds versus, restarting, because then it would just be silly. And, the refs and the teams would pick up on that.
Yeah. I mean, basically, if you're down with an ankle injury and then you get up and take 2 steps hobbling and immediately fall back down.
Right. And still the same injury, still the same reason you went down to begin with.
Yeah.
So it should be part of the same overarching.
In theory. But we'll have to see.
That's true. You could still get keeper goals if they, play like Andrew did a couple of times and play way up the field. Oh, wait, no, that was Wilkin in
M2
in Krasnik. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking of. But still, that was still good. That could still happen.
Yeah, yes. So the other goalkeeper rule is on the 6 attacker.
Yes.
When they're subbing out, they have to be treated just like a regular player and must be within the touch line. Whereas previously, the second they released the ball and made a step towards the bench, you could put on 6 attacker.
Correct.
We saw that play a role really in one game last year. I don't know if you remember it. It was Texas versus San Diego, one that San Diego lost and threw a hissy fit about.
Oh, yes. I don't remember the exact situation, but I do remember that game being controversial, quote unquote.
Yeah, I don't remember who was in the net. I'm assuming Pollo.
Right.
Yeah, distributed the ball, took a step towards the bench. Their attacker came on, and then they just chipped everyone on defense. Got a one-on-one with Pardo, I assume.
Yeah.
Unless it was Xavier Snare Williams at that time, and then just buried it. But it was big hissy fit about that. Was it Texas or Tacoma?
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
I do remember there definitely being a up in arms game with San Diego.
It's kind of frustrating that I can't remember, but it's only because over the past couple of years, San Diego has been involved in basically all of the there was controversy at the end kind of games.
They had a few. I'm not going to say they didn't.
Yep.
Might have been Tacoma. And I say that because
can't remember. Was that part of the hour-long ending game that they had with the other violation that changed a rule that we'll get to?
The other reason why I say it's Tacoma is because Texas never beat San Diego at home.
Okay.
So
that must have been.
Yeah, Tacoma. It took an hour to finish the fourth quarter.
Okay, so it was all mashed into one game. It just was so much going on in the fourth quarter, I couldn't differentiate.
Yep.
Rule 4 being changed is the drop ball. So, yeah, if a player gets the ball trapped up along the boards and is just kind of holding it there with their feet, instead of doing that drop ball between that player and the closest defender, It's just going to go to the other team that didn't trap the ball.
Yeah. So basically, don't trap the ball because you're going to lose it. Mm-hmm. You will guarantee, if you trap the ball, you guarantee yourself to lose it. That's really what that says.
It's a whatever kind of. Right. I don't know how much it changes things. We'll see. I
mean, if somebody goofs and they hold the ball, it's technically almost a free corner.
Yeah.
I mean, if they do it in the corner, it's literally...
If you're doing it defensively, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're doing it on attack, you just ruined your attack chances.
Right. But that's how a lot of defenders have gotten out of sticky situations, is literally holding the ball there to stop the attack, and then, that way they can get in a better position. So, I mean, it's definitely in those situations, we're going to see a change in play. They're basically forced to get it out instead of just being like, oh, we're just going to hold it here, break up the play, and reposition.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay, Rule 6 change: the elimination of the live shootout. So, in the past, whistle blows, player touches that ball, they dribble on goal, they take the shot. Both teams are running from half court behind them to try to clean it up. That's no more.
Wasn't this also... I can't remember if this was a San Diego thing or if it was a Chihuahua thing, but I remember...
Texas and a San Diego one.
There it is.
It was Texas and Utica and San Diego in that same Tacoma game.
Oh, yes. The Uzi. Uzi left the line early.
Yes.
I remember that. Or, well, we believe he left the line early. But
no, we caught him leave the line early. The ref saw him leave the line early and waved him back both times.
Yes.
And then didn't give him the yellow card he was supposed to get for leaving early a second time.
Yeah, we definitely talked about that one in the show.
It's like, if you're going to have the rules, enforce them. So they simplify. The way that I read this is we got rid of that because our referees couldn't officiate correctly on live shootouts.
And so we're basically just going to make it just like if it was the shootout at the end of a game.
Yeah.
Is basically how that reads.
Yep. Attacking player can take multiple attempts. They get 5 seconds.
The only thing that I have against that, how do you transition into live play?
You don't. I think they probably have to go into more detail, but when that 5-second buzzer sounds, I'm assuming they're going to award the team that took that shot the ball, or it'll be a goalkeeper distribution, and that team will be on, the defense for a power play, because that's the only way that they come with a blue card.
It just seems really clunky. It just obviously we'll know more when the season starts and we see it happen, but it just seems real clunky. Like it just doesn't seem like it'll be a seamless transition. Mm-hmm. I almost feel like it, and I mean, if it ends in a goalkeeper distribution because the goalkeeper got it, easy, no problem. But if after that 5 seconds, it's like, okay, do you just blow the whistle again and then the teams rush forward? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Obviously, we won't know until it plays out, but it does leave, for me at least, it leaves a lot of questions up in the air.
Yeah.
Like how do you do this?
Which we'll have to, I can always check the actual rule book if it's been updated online or if they're just doing the social media. Like right now, all we're going off of is the pictures that were put out on social that explain the rule change without going into too much detail.
I mean, I'm looking right at the MASL website, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Now you're on the MASL rule book?
Yeah, I'm literally... Well, no, I'm not on the rule book, but I'm literally on the MASL announces rule changes for the 2024-2025 season. That was the article that was put out today on the MASL website. So,
game.
I don't know if it's in the rule book, but well, I mean, I would assume it's in the rule book, but I'm reading it directly from the website.
Okay. So the rule book is updated online for anyone interested. You can get the 2024-2025 rules. What was section 14.8? Oh, okay. So ball is placed at the shootout mark nearest the attacking goal. All players of both teams, other than the goalkeeper defending the shootout and the shooter, have to remain inside their bench areas.
Oh, wow. So they are completely off the field. It is a completely clear field except for refs, goalkeeper, and shooter.
Attacking player permitted to make the multiple attempts. The ball may enter the goal after the buzzer, as long as the last touch is off the foot before the buzzer. So just like in basketball, if it's out of your hand, you took the shot while the game was live. If it goes in, it goes in.
Mm-hmm.
Goalkeeper, same privileges as a live play. So if they handle the ball outside of the box, they'll be assessed an additional blue card.
Okay. All right.
If the shootout is awarded with less than 5 seconds remaining, the game should be extended to allow a shootout to conclude.
Makes sense.
Kick in, restart, goal clear, corner kick. It's got to have... I'm going to have to read more because it cuts off there and doesn't say anything about how it would restart after.
Right.
This... I'm glad we still keep the shootout instead of just going to a PK because I think the shootouts are more skill based.
Agreed. Yep.
Instead of a PK being like, all right, goalie, hope you pick the right direction.
Yeah, pretty much. It's it's not a 50-50 shot, but it's, how's your prediction skills? Yeah. How's your body language reading? It's pretty much what it boils down to. The more seasoned keepers are going to be better at stopping those goals. And the ones that have interacted with other players, with those specific players that are shooting against them, they're the ones that are going to do better in those situations.
It definitely seems like a reaction to failed officiating last year.
The fact that it came out this year after we had at least 2 instances that we have seen, that we know of specifically, that of people leaving early and not getting anything done about it, definitely seems to hint at the fact of why this is changing at the time that it is. So,
yeah, it's like, well, we had 2 officials on the field and 3 on the sideline, and no one could just look down the midline and be like, "Hey, you're leaving early."
Yeah.
Again, where it's like, okay, well, you keep it simple, stupid. If we have to simplify the game to clean it up, I'm not against that, but
it sucks that you kind of have to do it.
It takes something away from it.
Right. This last one I like. I like this one quite a bit.
Yeah, this one is the the league needed this in the first place rule.
Yeah.
If you want to call it that.
Hey, this is how most everyone else does it. We're going to follow the NFL lead, basically, rule. I could take this one since you've done the rest of them.
Please.
So basically, everyone knows the way that we have the challenge flags. Basically you get one and done, whether you win the challenge or not. That now changes. So if you challenge a play and you win the challenge, you are awarded back your challenge. You get a second challenge for the game versus just losing it whether you got it right or not. I definitely like the fact that is the case. And what is it? I'll just read out the rule. So each team is permitted 1 challenge during regulation that will initiate a video review. If the team's challenge is successful, they will get an additional challenge during regulation play. A coach who throws the challenge in a non-challengeable or non-permissible situation loses their flag. So at least now, if they try to challenge a play that they can't challenge, they shouldn't be able to challenge, as long as the referee knows that they can't challenge that, which they should. You knew I was going to go there.
Wasn't the case last year.
Yeah. They were able to challenge some things that they weren't supposed to. As long as it's recognized that they are challenging something that they're not supposed to challenge, they lose their challenge. Exceptions to that. In the case of a malfunction of video replay equipment or video is not available for review, then the flag will be returned to the coach who requested the review, which I don't see what the point is at that point if you can't request video review. But, well, okay, I can kind of get it if it's because I remember there was one game where it wasn't available for like the first half, and then I want to say the home team
figured it out,
and then the home team was able to challenge and get a successful challenge because the video review was back up and running. I don't remember who that was, but I do remember it was a big thing at the time. Like, oh, we challenged, and we didn't get to use our challenge because your stuff wasn't working.
Cameras were down or something, so they couldn't get the right angle.
And then if the game proceeds to OT, each team will be permitted one challenge, regardless of the number of OT periods played. So it doesn't say that they get a second one if it's successful. So they could still be limited to one in OT, which, I mean, it is typically a shorter duration of time than actually it is a shorter duration of time in OT versus regulation play. So only having one does make a bit more sense. Yeah, that's another one that I definitely like.
Yeah, so one step away from what I was asking for last year.
Yeah,
which is get someone not at the game to review it. Get an off-field official to make the one be the guy making these calls. So you're eliminating the bias of a referee to be like, no, I think I was right.
Overall, I have to say I do like the direction they went in with these rule changes this season. I mean, the goalkeeper one with throwing the ball, it does kind of suck. I'm not a fan of that one. But overall, they're good changes. Unlike, the previous ones that we've seen, the one touch rule with the keeper. I agree. I understand that one. I'm not a super big fan of it, but I understand it. Stuff like that. These overall, I think are pretty good changes that help to streamline the game.
Yeah, a lot of this is about keeping the action moving and killing the dead time. And I am happy to see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a welcome change. I was one of the fans in baseball that welcomed the pitch clock to keep the game flowing along. This is going to do hopefully the same thing.
Yep. As long as we don't get a clock like that for possession time.
Yeah, no. I don't need a shot clock in this game.
Shot clock, thank you. Yeah, I don't think we need that. Like, I would not welcome something like that.
No. Now you have your very random 8-second count from the officials.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes more like a 12-second count because you can watch their hand against the clock and
it's like watching a ref in WWE for those that watch it. Those 10 counts, they are not 10 seconds. They're like 20. It's the same type of thing. Like, it's an exaggerated 10 seconds, like 8 seconds.
Watching any official in any anime tournament arc ever.
Yes.
Are you going to start counting? Oh, yeah. Oh, he started moving at 5. I'm going to stop and tell you that he started moving at 5. And I've been doing that for 30 seconds. Okay, 6.
It's supposed to be a 30-second fight, but it's like 4 episodes.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
I think that's really all we got to talk about tonight.
Yeah. I was going to say, we covered the major topics. I mean, we covered the signings, we covered the schedule, we covered the rule changes. I think that's pretty much all of the important information of this time.
Yeah. We'll have the combine this coming weekend. A couple more signings. Just things are picking up for me at work with Comets getting back in action. Might wait a couple weeks just to figure out what we do our next show. Get more than 3 signings so we can have a better picture of the full team at that point.
Yeah.
We will be back. We will talk more Utica. We will talk more other stuff because we always go on tangents.
As always. But, I mean, you wouldn't enjoy us as much if we didn't go on our tangents. No. It's our thing.
No, we're not trying to be Stephen A. Smith and yell incoherently about on-topic subjects.
Exactly.
So till next time, I'm Matt.
I'm Brandon.
And as always, go Utica.
Sogs!
Thank you for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast on whatever podcast app you use. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to interact with us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter or X, whatever you prefer to call it. We have a TeePublic shop where you can get UCFC player swag or help support the podcast. Thank you. We appreciate it. And one last thing, go Utica City.